Hermeticism is a complex and ancient spiritual and philosophical tradition that has profoundly influenced Western esotericism, mysticism, and various occult practices. Named after Hermes Trismegistus, a mythical figure often depicted as a fusion of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth, Hermeticism offers a framework for understanding the nature of the universe, the divine, and the human soul. While its roots trace back to the Hellenistic period, Hermeticism's concepts and principles have transcended time, influencing religious and philosophical thought throughout history. At its core, Hermeticism posits that the universe operates according to immutable principles that govern all aspects of existence. These principles, such as the law of correspondence and the principle of mentalism, provide a lens through which practitioners understand the interconnectedness of the microcosm and macrocosm. Hermetic teachings encourage personal transformation, the pursuit of wisdom, and the realization of divine unity, making it a path not just of knowledge, but of spiritual evolution. In today's video, we will seek to explore the historical origins, key concepts, and lasting influence of Hermeticism. Through this exploration, we will see how Hermeticism has not only survived for centuries, but also flourished, adapting to the changing needs and beliefs of modern seekers. But first, I would just like to mention that if you would like to support me and this channel, then please head on over to my Patreon, where you can subscribe to the supporter tier for $3 a month, or get into more magical leanings and teachings with the various other tiers, especially those of the Temple of the Horned Serpent. And I would just like to send out my appreciation to those that have joined and are supporting me in this manner. It really does mean a lot, and it definitely goes a long way. So Hermeticism emerged during the Hellenistic period, a time of profound cultural exchange between Greek, Egyptian, Persian, and other ancient civilizations. This period, which began with the conquests of Alexander the Great in the 4th century BCE and continued into the early centuries of the Common Era, laid the foundations for the development of Hermetic thought. The blending of Greek philosophy with Egyptian religious traditions, as well as the influence of other ancient belief systems, helped give rise to the esoteric and philosophical framework that would become known as Hermeticism. The Hellenistic era was marked by a fusion of cultures as Greek philosophy and mysticism interacted with the ancient wisdom of Egypt and the broader Near East. During this time, Egyptian religious ideas began to be integrated with Greek philosophical concepts, leading to the formation of a distinct spiritual tradition. Egyptian deities such as Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, and magic, were syncretized with the Greek god Hermes, who was associated with communication, knowledge, and the movement between worlds. This amalgamation produced the figure of Hermes Trismegistus, often considered the mythical author of the Hermetic texts. Hermes Trismegistus, whose name means thrice great Hermes, is believed to embody both the wisdom of the Egyptian priesthood and the philosophical insights of Greek thought. This synthesis made him a symbol of divine knowledge and the intermediary between humanity and the cosmos. As a result, Hermeticism became a philosophical and spiritual system that sought to explain the nature of the universe, the relationship between the divine and the human, and the means by which individuals could attain higher wisdom. The most important sources of Hermeticism are the texts attributed to Hermes Trismegistus. These writings, often referred to as the Hermetic corpus, consist of the collection of philosophical, theological, and mystical works that outline the core tenets of the tradition. The Corpus Hermeticum, a central text within Hermeticism, consists of 17 treatises that explore the nature of God, the cosmos, and the human soul. These texts blend Egyptian religious ideas with Greek philosophical concepts, particularly those of Platonism, Stoicism, and Neoplatonism, while also incorporating elements of Gnosticism and early Christian mysticism. Another key text in the Hermetic tradition is the Emerald Tablet, a short but influential work that outlines the principles of alchemy and the concept of as above, so below, encapsulating the Hermetic belief in the interconnectedness of all things. This text, often attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, became a cornerstone of Western alchemical thought and continues to be revered in occult circles to this day. Now, I just want to mention that this is not to be confused with the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, which is a 1930 book written by cult leader Maurice Doreal. So just bear that in mind. Over time, these texts were preserved and transmitted by various schools of thought, including early Christian Gnostics, Neoplatonists, and later medieval alchemists and magicians. The transmission of Hermetic ideas through these groups ensured that the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus would survive through the centuries, influencing not only occult traditions but also the broader intellectual and philosophical development of the Western world. Hermeticism's influence on the development of Western esoteric traditions is profound and far-reaching. In particular, the Hermetic principles served as the foundation for the development of alchemy, astrology, and various forms of mysticism. Alchemy, often viewed as a spiritual and material discipline focused on the transformation of base metals into gold, was deeply influenced by Hermetic ideas. The Hermetic concept of transformation through inner and outer correspondences became central to the practice of alchemy, where the alchemist was not only transmuting physical substances, but also undergoing a spiritual purification process aimed at attaining wisdom and divine union. Astrology, which examines the influence of celestial bodies on earthly events, was also shaped by Hermeticism. The Hermetic idea of correspondence, where the macrocosm, the universe, mirrors the microcosm, the individual, is foundational to astrological thought, which posits that the movements and positions of the stars and planets have a direct relationship with human affairs. This view was deeply rooted in Hermetic philosophy, which emphasized the interconnectedness of all things and the divine order underlying the cosmos. Hermetic mysticism, which emphasizes direct personal experience and the divine through meditation, ritual, and inner transformation, also traces its roots to the Hermetic tradition. The emphasis on the pursuit of gnosis, spiritual knowledge or wisdom, was central to the Hermetic worldview. This pursuit of enlightenment through self-knowledge and union with the divine became a central tenet in later mystical traditions, including Kabbalah, Sufism, and Christian mysticism. Through its influence on these various traditions, Hermeticism played a key role in shaping the intellectual and spiritual currents of the Western world, providing a framework for understanding the universe and humanity's place within it. The synthesis of Egyptian wisdom and Greek philosophy, embodied in the figure of Hermes Trismegistus, created a legacy that would endure for centuries, influencing both the occult and mainstream intellectual traditions alike. Hermeticism is built upon several foundational principles that provide a framework for understanding the universe, the nature of existence, and the relationship between the human soul and the divine. These core teachings are distilled from various sources, including the Corpus Hermeticum, ancient Egyptian and Greek philosophies, and Gnostic thought. You will probably also recognize these as part of the Kybalion, although that is no longer considered a Hermetic text. I thought it was a great book and great for beginners, as long as it is remembered that if you want to explore deeper, then you will probably need to move away beyond the Kybalion. And please bear in mind that this is simply a summary of the principles, not a deep discussion. So the following are key principles that define Hermeticism. At the heart of Hermetic philosophy is the concept of mentalism, the idea that the universe is, at its core, a mental construct. This principle asserts that all of reality, from the smallest atom to the grandest cosmic system, is the manifestation of divine thought. The material world, in this view, is not a separate entity, but rather a reflection of the divine mind. According to this principle, the human mind, as a part of the divine, has the potential to shape and influence the world around it. Hermetic teachings emphasize the power of thought, suggesting that individuals can bring about change in their lives and the world by aligning their thoughts with divine intelligence. The principle of correspondence is famously encapsulated in the Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, as below, so above. This idea suggests that there is a fundamental correspondence between the microcosm, the individual or the small-scale world, and the macrocosm, the universe or the larger reality. Everything in the universe is interconnected, and by studying one aspect of existence, one can understand the broader patterns at play in the cosmos. This principle teaches that the structure of human being, the workings of nature, and the movements of celestial bodies are all reflections of a single unified system. Another key Hermetic principle is the concept of vibration. Hermeticism posits that everything in the universe, including matter and energy, is in constant motion and vibration. This vibratory nature is a fundamental characteristic of all things, from physical objects to thoughts and emotions. The principle of vibration suggests that by altering one's own vibrational frequency through thought, emotion, and action, an individual can influence and harmonize with the surrounding world. The teachings imply that mastery of one's own vibration can lead to greater control over external circumstances as well as spiritual ascension. Hermeticism teaches that everything in existence has its opposite, and these opposites are interconnected through a continuum. The principle of polarity holds that apparent opposites, such as light and dark, hot and cold, or good and evil, are actually two extremes of the same fundamental essence. These dualities are not separate, but exist on a scale, and the goal of the practitioner is to transcend these polarities and understand the unity underlying them. By mastering the principle of polarity, individuals can learn to balance these opposites within themselves and in the world around them, achieving a state of inner harmony and spiritual equilibrium. The principle of rhythm suggests that everything in the universe operates in cycles and patterns of ebb and flow, much like the tides of the ocean or the changing of the seasons. This cyclical nature is present in all aspects of life, from the movement of celestial bodies to human emotions and experiences. According to Hermetic teachings, understanding and aligning oneself with these natural rhythms allows one to move with the flow of the universe rather than against it. Mastery of rhythm enables the practitioner to anticipate changes, adapt to life cycles, and achieve greater personal and spiritual growth. This principle asserts that every action has a corresponding reaction, and nothing occurs by chance. Hermeticism teaches that all events, whether in the physical world or the spiritual realm, are the result of cause and effect. By understanding this law, individuals can gain insight into the interconnectedness of all things and how their own actions influence the world around them. This principle encourages personal responsibility, as it suggests that one's thoughts, words, and actions all contribute to shaping the course of their life and the world at large. The principle of gender in Hermeticism goes beyond physical sex and refers to the dual masculine and feminine forces present in all things. These forces are seen as complementary, not opposing, and are necessary for creation and transformation. In Hermetic thought, everything has both a masculine and a feminine aspect, and the balance between these energies is crucial for spiritual and personal development. The principle of gender suggests that by understanding and harmonizing masculine and feminine aspects within oneself, one can achieve a greater wholeness and alignment with divine order. Central to Hermeticism is the belief that the unity, or belief in the unity of all things. This principle asserts that everything in existence is connected through the divine mind, and that separation is an illusion. The human soul, the cosmos, and the divine are all part of a single, indivisible reality. This understanding of unity encourages spiritual practitioners to seek a direct connection with the divine, transcending the illusion of separation and realizing that or their oneness with all of creation. The principle of divine unity is often expressed through the concept of the One, the source of all being, from which everything emanates and to which everything ultimately returns. These core principles of Hermeticism form the foundation of a philosophical and spiritual system that offers a comprehensive view of the universe and the role of human beings within it. By understanding and applying these teachings, practitioners seek to achieve spiritual enlightenment, personal transformation, and greater alignment with the divine order of the cosmos. Hermeticism encourages the cultivation of wisdom, inner harmony, and the realization of one's divine potential, making it a deeply transformative tradition for those who choose to engage with its teachings. Hermeticism has had a profound and enduring impact on Western esoteric traditions, shaping the key development of key mystical, occult, and philosophical systems. Its principles, particularly those concerning the relationship between the material and spiritual worlds, the power of transformation, and the pursuit of wisdom, laid the foundation for a wide range of esoteric practices that continue to influence contemporary thought and spiritual exploration. Alchemy, one of the most prominent expressions of Western esotericism, owes much of its philosophical and spiritual framework to Hermeticism. The Hermetic belief in the transformation of the self and the universe through inner and outer correspondences directly aligns with alchemical practices, which seek the transmutation of base metals into gold as a metaphor for spiritual purification and enlightenment. Alchemists, inspired by the Hermetic principle of as above, so below, believed that the process of transmuting physical substances mirrored the process of inner transformation, whereby the alchemist's soul could be purified and elevated to a higher state of consciousness. The Hermetic Emerald Tablet, with its famous phrase, as above, so below, became a central text for alchemists throughout the ages. This text provided both a philosophical and practical framework for alchemy, emphasizing the unity of all things and the interconnectedness between the spiritual and material realms. By understanding the divine principles governing the natural world, alchemists sought not only to master the secrets of nature, but also to achieve spiritual perfection and union with the divine. Key alchemical texts, such as those by Paracelsus and the works of later figures like Isaac Newton, were often heavily influenced by Hermetic principles. Alchemy's emphasis on transformation, both in the material and spiritual sense, can be seen as a direct extension of Hermetic thought, with the alchemist serving as a mediator between the two worlds, capable of shaping both physical reality and inner self. Astrology, the study of the influence of celestial bodies on earthly events, is another area where Hermeticism's influence is evident, as we've mentioned before. The Hermetic principle of correspondence, as above, so below again, is central to astrological thought, which posits that the positions and movements of the planets and stars have a direct correlation to human affairs. This idea reflects the Hermetic belief that the macrocosm, or the universe, mirrors the microcosm, the individual, and that understanding the cosmic order can provide insight into the nature of the self and the events that unfold in one's life. Astrology's connection to Hermeticism is also seen in its focus on the interconnectedness of all things and the belief in divine intelligence governing the universe. Astrologers, drawing from Hermetic teachings, interpret the movements of the celestial bodies as expressions of a deeper cosmic plan, in which each individual is part of a larger interconnected whole. In this way, astrology becomes not just a tool for predicting future events, but also a means of understanding one's place in the universe and aligning oneself with higher cosmic principles. The influence of Hermeticism on astrology is particularly evident in the Renaissance, when thinkers like Marsilio Ficino and Giovanni Pico della Mirandola integrated Hermetic and Neoplatonic ideas into their astrological writings. During this period, astrology was viewed not merely as a form of divination, but as a legitimate philosophical and spiritual practice, deeply intertwined with the Hermetic worldview. The mystical tradition of Kabbalah, which originated in medieval Jewish thought, also bears traces of Hermetic influence, especially during the Renaissance, when there was significant cross-pollination between Jewish mysticism, Christian mysticism, and Hermetic philosophy. Kabbalah seeks to understand the nature of the divine, the creation of the universe, and the relationship between the spiritual and material worlds, all themes that resonate strongly with Hermetic teachings. The Hermetic principle of the interrelation between the macrocosm and the microcosm finds a counterpart in Kabbalistic thought, particularly in the concept of the Tree of Life, which represents the structure of the universe and the path of human spiritual ascent. In Kabbalah, the Sephirot, the 10 attributes or emanations through which the divine reveals itself, mirror the Hermetic idea of divine intelligence and the progression from the material world to spiritual enlightenment. Moreover, the Renaissance Hermeticists were instrumental in incorporating Kabbalistic teachings into their own esoteric systems. Figures like Giovanni Pico della Mirandola and Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa studied Kabbalah alongside Hermeticism, and their works fused elements of both traditions, contributing to the development of Christian Kabbalah, which combined Jewish mysticism with Hermetic and Neoplatonic ideas. Magic, as both a philosophical and practical system, draws heavily from Hermeticism's teachings on the mind's ability to influence and shape reality. The Hermetic principle of mentalism, which asserts that the all is mind, and that all reality is a manifestation of consciousness, forms the basis for magical practices that aim to harness the power of thought, will, and intention to affect the material world. In Hermetic magic, the practitioner is taught to align their mental and spiritual energy with the divine order, using ritual, visualization, and focused intention to bring about change. The idea that the universe is governed by divine laws, such as the law of correspondence and the law of cause and effect, underpins the belief in sympathetic magic, while the practitioner can influence the outer world by understanding and working with the hidden laws that govern it. The Hermetic tradition also influenced the development of the Western magical tradition, particularly during the Renaissance and the subsequent rise of ceremonial magic. The works of figures such as Aleister Crowley, Eliphas Levi, and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn integrate Hermetic principles into their systems of ritual magic, emphasizing the importance of personal transformation and spiritual enlightenment. Rituals, symbols, and practices from the Hermetic tradition became central to the development of occult practices, where the aim was not just to effect change in the external world, but also to achieve a higher state of being and align with the divine intelligence of the universe. The Rosicrucian movement, which emerged in the early 17th century, was deeply influenced by Hermeticism, blending Hermetic, alchemical, and Christian mysticism into a unique system of spiritual and philosophical thought. The Rosicrucians sought to revive the ancient wisdom of the Egyptians and the Hermetic tradition, emphasizing personal transformation, the pursuit of knowledge, and the healing of the soul. Their writings, most notably Fama Fraternitatis and Confessio Fraternitatis, reflect Hermetic ideas, particularly the notion that the material world is a reflection of the deeper spiritual reality. The Rosicrucians were also influenced by the Hermetic tradition's focus on universal harmony and the idea that spiritual enlightenment could lead to the restoration of balance in both the individual and the world at large. Through their emphasis on esoteric knowledge, alchemy, and spiritual healing, the Rosicrucians helped shape the course of Western esoteric thought, ensuring that Hermetic ideas continue to thrive and influence later movements such as Freemasonry and the Theosophical Society. The influence of Hermeticism on Western esotericism remains significant in the modern era. Contemporary spiritual movements, including the New Age, continue to draw on Hermetic principles such as the law of attraction, the interconnectedness of all things, and the transformative power of the mind. Hermeticism's emphasis on self-empowerment, spiritual evolution, and the exploration of hidden knowledge continues to resonate with those seeking alternative paths to enlightenment. In addition, Hermetic ideas are foundational to many modern occult and mystical groups, from the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn to contemporary esoteric traditions like chaos magic. These systems often blend Hermetic teachings with other philosophical and spiritual traditions, adapting them to the needs and concerns of the modern world. In sum, Hermeticism has played a pivotal role in shaping the Western esoteric tradition. From alchemy and astrology to Kabbalah and magic, the core principles of Hermeticism have influenced a vast array of spiritual and philosophical movements, creating a lasting legacy that continues to inspire seekers of knowledge and transformation across the globe. In the modern era, Hermeticism continues to exert a significant influence on contemporary spirituality, offering a framework for personal transformation, spiritual development, and an understanding of the cosmos. While its foundational principles have remained largely consistent, the way these ideas are expressed and practiced has evolved to resonate with modern sensibilities, blending ancient wisdom with contemporary philosophical, psychological, and spiritual thought. The resurgence of interest in occult practices in the 19th and 20th centuries, particularly with the rise of groups like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, has helped to keep Hermeticism at the forefront of Western esoteric traditions. Modern occultism, which incorporates magic, ritual, astrology, and alchemy, continues to draw from Hermetic teachings as a foundation for spiritual and magical practices. The idea that the universe is governed by hidden laws and that through knowledge and mastery of these laws, individuals can effect change in their own lives remains a central tenet to modern occultism. Occultists who follow Hermetic principles often practice ceremonial magic, an intrinsic system of rituals designed to align the practitioner's will with the divine forces of the cosmos. These practices are rooted in Hermetic concepts, such as the relationship between the macrocosm and the microcosm, where the magician is seen as the microcosm or the microcosmic reflection of the larger universe, capable of influencing both their inner and outer worlds. The Kabbalah and Tarot, both of which have strong Hermetic influences, are often used as tools in occult rituals, helping practitioners gain insight into hidden spiritual truths and navigate their paths toward enlightenment. The modern occult revival, which began in the 19th century and continued into the 20th century, with figures like Aleister Crowley, Diane Fortune, and Israel Regardie, was deeply informed by Hermetic thought. Crowley, in particular, drew heavily from Hermeticism in the development of his system of Thelema, which integrates Hermetic principles with his own esoteric teachings on will, self-realization, and divine consciousness. As a result, Hermeticism remains a core influence in many occult traditions, providing the philosophical underpinnings for magical practices and spiritual philosophy. In the context of the digital age, Hermeticism's influence can be seen in the growing interest in virtual practices of meditation, manifestation, and energy healing, often facilitated by online platforms. Modern technology, including apps for mindfulness, guided meditation, and chakra balancing, provides an accessible means for individuals to engage with Hermetic principles of spiritual ascent and self-transformation. These tools often promote the idea that the mind can influence one's reality, a core belief in Hermetic thought, through guided practices that align the practitioner with universal laws. Moreover, the idea of interconnectedness and the holistic view of reality central to Hermeticism resonates with the interconnected nature of the internet and digital spaces. The digital world offers an environment where individuals can explore, share, and develop their understanding of esoteric principles, forming virtual communities around shared spiritual practices. These virtual spaces allow modern seekers to engage with Hermeticism in a way that transcends geographical and cultural boundaries, creating a global network of individuals united by a common spiritual vision. The rapid advancements in artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and quantum computing have led some to revisit Hermetic principles in light of emerging technologies. For example, the notion of the mind as a transformative force is mirrored in the way artificial intelligence is increasingly seen as capable of shaping and creating new realities. Similarly, the Hermetic idea that the physical and spiritual worlds are interconnected finds expression in discussions around the nature of consciousness in the digital world, sparking philosophical debates on the nature of reality and human experience in an increasingly technological society. Despite its widespread influence, the application of Hermeticism in contemporary spirituality has not been without its critiques. Some argue that the commercialization of Hermetic ideas, particularly within the New Age movement, has led to the dilution of its teachings, reducing complex spiritual concepts to simplistic self-help strategies. Critics also point out the potential for spiritual bypassing, using Hermetic or other esoteric teachings to avoid addressing deeper psychological or societal issues. Additionally, the modern reinterpretations of Hermeticism can sometimes diverge significantly from its original philosophical and mystical foundations, leading to concerns that these adaptations may lack the depth and integrity of the tradition itself. Nevertheless, the ongoing relevance of Hermeticism in contemporary spirituality suggests that its core principles continue to resonate with those seeking deeper meaning and personal transformation. Hermeticism remains a vital and dynamic influence in contemporary spirituality, contributing to the development of New Age practices, modern occultism, psychological self-help, and even the digital exploration of consciousness. The enduring appeal of Hermetic principle, such as the interconnectedness of all things, the power of the mind, and the pursuit of spiritual ascent, speaks to the universal human desire for transformation, understanding, and connection to a higher reality. As Hermeticism continues to evolve in response to changing landscape of modern life, it offers a timeless framework for those seeking to navigate both the spiritual and material dimensions of existence. While Hermeticism has been widely regarded as a profound and influential system of thought, It has also faced criticism and controversy both historically and in modern times. These critiques address various aspects of Hermetic teachings, ranging from concerns about the philosophical coherence to its perceived influence on occult and New Age practices. One of the primary criticisms of Hermeticism, particularly in its historical development, is its association with elitism and exclusivity. Hermeticism has long been viewed as a tradition that is available only to a select few who possess the proper knowledge, initiation, and intellectual ability. This notion of esoteric knowledge reserved for spiritual or intellectual elite has been criticized for fostering an exclusionary attitude toward those outside the inner circles of Hermetic practitioners. Critics argue that Hermeticism's emphasis on hidden or secret teachings, often veiled in complex symbolism and cryptic language, reinforces a hierarchy of knowledge that can be alienating or disempowering for those seeking to engage with it. This is particularly evident in the development of Hermetic orders, such as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, where members were required to undergo rigorous initiations and were often sworn to secrecy about the teachings they received. Such practices have led to accusations that Hermeticism perpetuates an intellectual and spiritual elitism, where knowledge is not freely shared, but rather hoarded by an exclusive few. This elitism has also been extended to the perceived intellectual complexity of Hermeticism, the tradition's intricate philosophical system, which draws from multiple sources, including ancient Egyptian, Greek, and Gnostic thought, can be difficult to understand, further reinforcing the belief that it is not accessible to the general public. Some modern critics argue that this complexity is not necessarily a mark of spiritual superiority, but rather a barrier that limits the potential for widespread spiritual or philosophical engagement. Hermeticism's rich history of reinterpretation has also led to criticism that its original teachings have been misinterpreted, distorted, or diluted over time. This critique stems from the way in which Hermetic principles have been adapted and modified in various occult, New Age, and contemporary spiritual movements, sometimes straying significantly from their original context and meaning. The most notable example of this is the widespread appropriation of Hermeticism within the New Age movement. While many New Age practitioners draw from Hermetic teachings, they often reinterpret these ideas in ways that some scholars and traditional practitioners see as superficial or misaligned with the original Hermetic texts. For example, the principle of as above, so below is often simplified to suggest that personal thought and intention can directly shape one's physical reality, which some critics believe oversimplifies the more nuanced Hermetic understanding of the relationship between the spiritual and material realms. Similarly, the popularization of Hermeticism as a self-help philosophy has led to the commercialization of its teachings. The emphasis on manifestation, positive thinking, and the law of attraction, while inspired by Hermetic principles such as mentalism and correspondence, is often seen as a distortion of the tradition's deeper mystical and philosophical insights. Critics argue that these practices may focus too heavily on individual desires and material success, rather than the broader, more complex spiritual transformation that Hermeticism originally advocated. Hermeticism's esoteric nature and its perceived syncretism, combining elements from a wide range of religious, philosophical, and mystical traditions, has led to tensions with established religious systems. The Hermetic worldview often emphasizes personal gnosis, which is direct spiritual knowledge, over orthodox religious teachings, and its syncretic approach may be seen as undermining the purity of specific religious beliefs. As an example, Hermeticism's focus on the power of the individual to transform the consciousness and align with divine intelligence contrasts with the more dogmatic religious views that emphasize submission to a higher authority or deity. This tension is particularly evident in the way Hermeticism interacts with Christianity, where it is often seen as a competing or even heretical system. The Hermetic tradition's rejection of established religious hierarchy, its focus on esoteric knowledge, and its use of occult practices such as alchemy and magic have led some Christian groups to view Hermeticism as dangerous or subversive. In some cases, the Hermetic tradition's emphasis on personal enlightenment and mystical experience can lead to accusations of spiritual elitism or pride, particularly within religious frameworks that prioritize humility and obedience. This critique is particularly salient in the context of the New Age movement, where Hermetic ideas are often promoted as a means of achieving personal success or spiritual superiority, sometimes at the expense of traditional religious values like compassion, community, and selflessness. The Hermetic tradition, particularly in its more modern forms, has also faced criticism for being vulnerable to abuse and misuse by individuals seeking power or control. This critique is particularly relevant in the context of Hermetic practices associated with magic, ritual, and occultism. The use of Hermetic rituals and symbols in magical workings has been a subject of concern, particularly when such practices are employed for selfish, manipulative, or coercive purposes. Critics argue that the Hermetic emphasis on the power of the individual's will and the ability to influence the cosmos can sometimes encourage a mindset of self-interest and personal gain, rather than spiritual growth or the service of a greater good. This is particularly true in certain occult or magical circles, where the practice of certain Hermetic rituals may be disconnected from ethical considerations or moral guidelines. In some cases, charismatic leaders within Hermetic or occult groups have been accused of using their knowledge of Hermetic teachings to manipulate followers, leading to accusations of cult-like behavior or spiritual exploitation. The secrecy surrounding many Hermetic traditions, along with the complex hierarchy of initiation and knowledge, can also create conditions in which power dynamics are abused. Despite its enduring appeal and influence, Hermeticism has faced a range of criticisms, from accusations of elitism and exclusivity to concerns about its misrepresentation and potential for abuse. These criticisms reflect the complexity and diversity of the Hermetic tradition, as well as the challenges it faces in adapting to contemporary society. Nevertheless, Hermeticism remains a powerful and influential system of thought, offering a unique blend of mysticism, philosophy, and spiritual practice that continues to resonate with those seeking a deeper understanding and personal transformation. Understanding these criticisms and controversies provides a more nuanced perspective on the tradition, highlighting both its strengths and its limitations in the modern world. Hermeticism, as both a spiritual tradition and philosophical system, has had a profound and enduring influence on Western esotericism, shaping various mystical, magical, and philosophical movements from antiquity to the present day. Rooted in ancient Egyptian, Greek, and Gnostic thought, the tradition has evolved through countless cultural and historical contexts, often adapting its teachings to meet the needs of different societies. Despite the controversies and criticisms it has faced, Hermeticism continues to resonate with those seeking deeper knowledge of the universe, personal transformation, and spiritual enlightenment. The core principles of Hermeticism, particularly the idea of divine unity, the law of correspondence, and the power of the human mind to influence the cosmos, offer a powerful framework for understanding the interconnectedness of all things. These teachings emphasize the potential for spiritual ascent and transformation, encouraging practitioners to align their will with the divine intelligence that underlies reality. The Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, remains a key insight, demonstrating the correspondence between the microcosm and macrocosm, and suggesting that by understanding oneself, one can understand the greater mysteries of the universe. However, as we have seen, Hermeticism is not without its challenges and criticisms. Allegations of elitism, potential of misinterpretation, the concerns about its practical applications in the modern world are ongoing debates. The tradition's complex and esoteric nature, with its emphasis on hidden knowledge and secret teachings, has often led to accusations of exclusion and distortion. Moreover, the use of Hermetic principles for personal gain, or the misapplication of its teachings in occult practices, raises ethical questions about the potential for misuse and abuse. In contemporary spirituality, Hermeticism's influence can be seen in a wide range of movements, from the New Age and occult communities to modern witchcraft and even self-help philosophies. While the tradition continues to inspire personal transformation and spiritual inquiry, it also faces the challenge of remaining relevant in an increasingly secular, rational, and scientifically oriented world. The challenge for modern practitioners and scholars is to reinterpret Hermetic teachings in ways that speak to the spiritual needs and concerns of today's society, while respecting its historical roots and philosophical depth. Ultimately, Hermeticism remains a rich and diverse tradition, one that offers both a profound spiritual path and a complex intellectual system. Its principles continue to inspire individuals seeking deeper understanding of themselves and the cosmos, as well as those seeking to navigate the mysteries of existence. While Hermeticism may be subject to criticism and misinterpretation, its enduring appeal speaks to its timeless relevance in the search for wisdom, enlightenment, and spiritual harmony. As we move forward in the modern age, the Hermetic tradition will likely continue to evolve, offering new insights into the nature of the divine and the potential of human consciousness. A lot of people will probably recommend the Kabbalion here for reference and further reading. And I did enjoy it. I thought it was a great book. However, it is not really Hermeticism. Just something to bear in mind when you are going to look for sources. But I thought I would recommend some books you can have a look at there. If you go to my Amazon playlist, there'll be a link up here or somewhere up here, and in the description to go to the actual category itself for Hermeticism. The books I'm mentioning now will be in there, so go and have a look for those. So we have Corpus Hermeticum, of which Hermetica, the Greek Corpus Hermeticum, and the Latin Asclepius in a New English translation with notes and introduction by Brian P. Copenhaver. This is noted as being a fantastic translation and examination of the Corpus Hermeticum. There's also the Way of Hermes, which is subtitle New Translations of the Corpus Hermeticum and the Definitions of Hermes Trismegistus to Asclepius by Solomon van Oyen Wharton and Mahay is another one. The third book is the Hermetica, The Lost Wisdom of the Pharaohs by Timothy Freak and Peter Gandy. Then any books by Wouter J. Hanegraaff are said to be a great source. He is a professor of the history of Hermetic philosophy at the University of Amsterdam in Netherlands. His books do get a bit pricey with some Kindle versions in the $100 bracket, but start with Western Esotericism, a guide for the perplexed, which, if I remember correctly, isn't so pricey. So you can find all of those books in the Amazon, on my Amazon storefront in that particular category, and there's links above and in the description below, so you can find those quite easily. And that is it for Hermeticism for this particular path series for this month. And this is the first premiered video of the new year of 2025. So you would have found me in the chat I'm not sure which way it is now. But you would have found me in the chat if you were following along and chatting with me. But do join me for the live, which is coming up after this. The Covenstead, as per usual, which starts at 5 p.m. GMT. All right, so hopefully I'll see everybody there and everybody else. All right, hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.